Yo, what's up, guys? I'm going to talk about the current patch that we have with pretty much the Vampire Hunters, some monster skill balance changes, new transmogs, changes in professions and that kind of stuff, and then also some new monster stories. And we got White Castle added, we got Spires, we got the Spires thing like expanded, and we got Brawl in there. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. But first things first, of course, the new units. Everyone's going to ask like, yo, which ones should I summon for? Well, you definitely do not want to summon for this one because you will get this one from the monster story. So the question is water or fire. If we look at the units specifically, mainly the water one is the one that people talk about because the water one has the remove beneficial and attack up, so it's a really good PvP unit. From what I've heard, this one is a pretty decent PvE unit. So if you want to aim for more for a PvE unit, this is probably your take. However, you probably also have like the Naomi, the Argon, blah, blah, those kind of units. So do you really need a fire unit as a PvE unit? I'm not too sure. But this one seems to be pretty good. So this is the one I'm going to summon once for it on the banner and then call it a day for that one. And then start working on like other blessings that I have. But at least owning the unit so I can put it in a blessing later at a later moment that I want. NFL banner is also still up. If you don't have NFL yet, I do actually think that NFL is more interesting because NFL is just super all-around, good in TOA, good in some new raids that are coming, like the next raid, not this one, but the next. Good in pretty much everything. So I would recommend, if you don't have NFL yet, I would probably recommend to go NFL banner first before going for this banner. And then, of course, afterwards, you could save either towards Juno, that's probably coming soon, or you can just summon on these to get your blessings running, because I'm working on like this one and this one right now. So I do want to get those in as well. Next thing we have is we have Brawl. Brawl is opened right now, and Brawl in this game is RTA. And you definitely do want to play this because you get these points, these Brawl seals from it, and you get pretty good rewards with it. If you're not too interested in PvP, just go in and pretty much leave. Because if I'm not mistaken, even if you lose, you still get some Brawl seals. So you definitely do want to play. You have fixed hours at which you can play. That actually helps the queue time be a lot faster. In Europe server, pretty much all queues are insta-pops from what I've noticed so far. But you definitely want to get those, and you just... if you don't want to actually play it, you just play and you instantly quit out. You get some rewards until you're getting at a certain rank where the enemy is that low that you can probably, he will quit out on you. So that's, I definitely recommend you to play this. And the main reason is because you have these Arena Shop, Brawl Shop is added, and you can get 2 more Devil Months per month, which are very much worth it. You can get 4 more of those, or wait, you can get 5 more of those per month, which are very worth it. You can get a light and dark scroll from this as well. You can get Galaxy Stones Supreme. These are pretty nice as well. Of course, there's another outfit. I think it's decent to add some defense to Orbia, but it's somewhat expensive as well. So first things to focus on, Devilmon. Second thing, 4-star Devilmon, and then probably the L&D scroll, and then into Skystone. So that's probably what I would do. You have 20 entries. I think you get a refill of 10 entries per day, and you can add extra refills by just spending. So probably the first one you buy is 100, second one's probably 200 for 5, and then 300 for 5 or 400 for 5. I'm not entirely sure. Not sure if I will actually refund these or like extra entry these that much. I'm not that well, like good in Brawl or anything, because I didn't really do this in NA because I didn't have that many units, but now we're all kind of on the same page. Everyone doesn't have that many units, so I probably will do more Brawl in this server for sure. Then we have a bunch of new transmogs. We have a few changes to crafting, but the crafting change, it's not that big. It's now if you want to craft something and you can craft multiple of, you can put this all the way. I think it's easy to show at processing. Instead of it being like 15, you can craft 20 at a time. It's a slight life or like time saver, but doesn't change all too much. Something that does change quite some, and that is pretty interesting, is that we have the area dungeons. No, wait, monster story. We have the monster story, as mentioned before, from the Vampire Hunter. Haven't done this one yet. It gives a decent amount of rewards, gives some rage runes, 60 of those, never bad to get a bunch of those, 30 of those. 3 mystical scrolls is not bad either. But the interesting one is actually the Martial Cat, because the Martial Cat is Naomi, of course, one of the meta units. Lulu, one of the meta units. You definitely want to have those units. So if you don't have those yet, you can definitely get them over here. But you also get specific rewards, which is 200 Breath of Lives, a few 4-star Angel Mons, and this is where it gets interesting. Essence of Magic 200. So, and this doesn't take you that long to do. It took me literally like 5 minutes to do. And 200 Essences of Magic, you definitely do not want to skip out on. You definitely want to get those. And then 4-star Devil Mons, and then you get Naomi. But those essences, the moment I saw that, I'm like, yo, this thing legit. This thing is very, very legit. You do want to get that one. Other things that we have right now is we have the guild and then the guild rate. I will be making a separate video on guild rate. But the interesting thing is what you get from here is the hard edition. And that is definitely something you do want to aim for getting. Let's see how far people cleared it already. Okay, we have a bunch of guilds clearing level 4. I think our guild could probably clear 3 or 4 as well. This one was... No, actually they cleared 4 pretty easily. But 5 is going to be difficult. At NA server, I was in a guild called Encore. Mostly for people from the Philippines. We joined them. They understood like the mechanics like pretty much perfectly. I think I kind of know them, but I'm not that like great at these, but just follow them more or less. But it's doing a lot of damage on these things in a certain time frame. You go in with like a group of 12 people max. You can have 24 people at the instance at the same time. But I'm not entirely sure. I think if you have like 50 people in your guild, you can go in 2 times with 24 people to clear that thing. Also, if you're afraid of missing out on these rewards, because let's say level 1 is already cleared, but there's only level 2 open right now, like what happens to your level 1 rewards? If you get the contribution at the highest level that's in there, so literally even if like let's say your guild couldn't clear level 5, you go in level 5, you leave, you do like 1 damage, you go out, you can get all of the rewards from all of the previous things that are already cleared. You just have to get your contribution. Not sure if it's just 1 damage, maybe you have to do a little bit more, but something like that. But I'll make a more specific video about guild rates when we actually do guild rates with our guild that we have right now. But Celia, you get a bunch of runes as well. You get a whole bunch of gold. Like the gold amount that you actually get is pretty nice. The runes that you get is pretty good too. You actually get pretty good stuff here in general. Plus you have the season reward, where you get this, if your guild is at a certain rank, you get a whole bunch of guild coins. You get a good amount of crystals, and that is something that resets every week, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely worth it to add into getting those kind of things in. So try to find a guild. If you haven't found a guild yet, try to find a guild and definitely get those in there. Why is Celia good, you might ask, or how is the unit specifically? Let's look at the book. We don't have Viva Shell yet, which is actually the more interesting one of the two, because it helps you clear the Spire's Dark. Because Spire's Light, you can have a bunch of healers in there. But this is Celia, and Celia, the main thing what I actually used her for was open world farming. And the reason that it's good for open world farming is you have recovery up and damage dealt up if a team member defeats an enemy creature. Then also applies recovery up, mana regen, and speed up for the summoner. So that is just a lot of things that are very good if you clear very fast. So this unit is very good in secret dungeons where you have a lot of units. This unit is insanely good, again, in open world stuff. At some point we will get the hero area, which is like open world, but like stronger monsters. So you definitely don't want to miss out on this unit, because it's very strong for the amount of, like, check how many buffs it gives. Like, it's your complete support in one unit. And it's a 6-second cooldown on max things. And you don't have to put any Devil Mons in it. That's like the best thing about it as well. Because you get so many pieces of her over time. Like, sure, at the first few weeks, you're not going to get her like maxed out and you cannot summon her right away. Probably it takes you like 2 weeks to summon her or something like that. But the moment you have those pieces, every 10 pieces you add, I wouldn't go for Awakening. Like, Awakening is not interesting on her. She doesn't need more HP. She doesn't need to do more damage. She just needs her skill ups to get those cooldowns faster. So everything you have of those, throw it in the cooldowns. And I think that is pretty much all there is. Yeah, there were a few monster balances out there, but I think most of the people are not too familiar with all units that far. I am happy that my Dark Monkey is now a stunner in this game as well. So stunning. So yeah, this thing can actually stun right now, which is pretty interesting. So that actually boosts his priority for being built. Currently, I'm still working mainly on Theor first, Annabelle second, and then probably Monkey coming third. So that is my game plan for the moment. Let's add one more in those. And yeah, that's it, all of it for this video. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Also, check me out on Twitch. I'm doing a whole bunch of content on Twitch. And I actually totally forgot one very important thing. We have White Castle in here. So White Castle, the new raid. You probably all have been farming it for quite a bunch. It is, as you saw in the previous video, a lot easier if you can actually stack the damage cap, which I've seen a lot of people are pretty easy to do as well. If you might ask, what should I buy first? The honest answer is buy whatever you have is weakest. So if you have weak weapons, you buy weapons first. If you have weak secondary sub-weapon, you buy that first. If you have weak accessory, you buy that first. It's just kind of relative. Like I could say like, oh, I'm going for weapons first, and then I go sub-weapon, and I'm going to skip out on accessory because I'm going to do accessory from the next one. That makes sense for me, but that doesn't necessarily have to make sense for you. So for that reason, I just say buy whatever is worst for you. And the moment like the weapons, I would always buy like the 5/4s. The 5/4s can be 5/4s or 5/5s, of course. But you also want to check like, okay, if you have like 3 or 4 weapons from this, and to get that last weapon is a 1 in 5, wouldn't gamble it. I would start focusing on other things. One more thing that I almost forgot. Spires has been expanded. Expanded? Extended. Whatever. Added more. That's how you do it. So yeah, right before we could clear until 50, but now we can clear upwards of 50. And what does that mean for rewards? Well, there's actually quite a bunch of good rewards. So just one scroll, not that interesting. These are actually pretty good. There's quite a lot of materials. Bunch of these, never bad. These are not that interesting. More runes, which actually help out quite some. Some of these are pretty good. Some of them don't really have the right stats that you would like to have for the exact thing. But some of those are actually pretty good. So you got a bunch more runes. You get these. These are always very useful as well. Either you just, like, if they're shit, you just hand them in for your promotions. Otherwise, you just use them. Same for those. So you actually want to, like, if you have enough power to clear those, definitely check it out. Probably it's kind of doable. Like, if you do, like, 80 or something in Celestial, then you can probably do the fire one. With Sekhmet, the water one is going to be pretty easy because everyone's going to have a Bastet. You have a Konamiya, and then you just add in whatever else. Wind one is somewhat more tricky because wind one, you don't really have good wind healers except for the wind Yeti and probably just soon. Light one is mainly depending on like how good are your LDs or your, what's it called? Your main character. So that kind of depends on how that's working out. And the dark one is by far the hardest because dark one, as you can see, it's pretty hard to get a dark healer in because you can see this one is a dark healer, that one is a dark healer. And that is pretty much all there is for dark healers for most people. Light ones, yeah, you got a bunch of healers with those in there, so that's pretty doable. This one, you could burst your way through with this team pretty far, but at some point you will get stuck depending on how much power you have. This team kind of makes more sense for it, I would say. Water one, yeah, people already cleared on 70, it's easy as fuck. You just go Bastet, Lulu, Konamiya, and you get like one unit in there. Like even this, like this team can probably clear to 70 pretty easily. And then this also totally makes sense. This will be the team I'm running. Also have been running for a little bit. This team is also very solid to add in the attack bar. This team is very solid. So fire and water are very easy, and you definitely want to get on to those as well. Okay, so one more thing that I also forgot. Man, there's so many things in this update. We got the collection challenges, and collection challenges is something you definitely want to do. You just hand in a bunch of crap and you get like a good reward, like good runes, scrolls, runes, and especially over here, a Devilmon. You might ask like, hey, where the fuck do I get like freaking these weapons? If you didn't build the second character yet, you can get them from those quests and just hand them in here. That's an option. Or otherwise, you just craft them. That is a good thing. This one is pretty easy and straightforward. I actually, just before I was doing this, I fed all of those for Revel Life, so I don't have enough of those yet. For runes, runes is kind of, you can check, like, for example, 4-star runes you can get from, like, the 4th area. 3-star runes you can get from the 3rd area. That kind of stuff, but sometimes they're the wrong grade, so then you have to craft them if you don't have them anymore. Then you also have these things, you just have to hand in all of those shit, which well, relatively easy to get. If you hand in those 300 herbs, I would go for the herbs you have the most and probably are the cheapest. Same for like the minerals and that kind of stuff. So this is pretty much a free Devilmon that you definitely do not want to miss out on. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Already said my ending video again, but we're going to do that again. Guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.